If you're looking to move to the most affordable place in Albuquerque or the most affordable side of town, in today's video, I'm going to be going over the Southwest Heights and giving you all the details about the landscape and what's going on in that area. So don't change the channel. Don't go to the next video. Hang tight, grab your pen and pad because it's about to get interesting. Let's go. Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Eli, and if you're tuning into this video, it's probably because you're wondering what living and moving to Albuquerque is like. And over the past couple of years, I've been very fortunate to be able to help over 60 families move in and all around here in New Mexico. And as much as I love doing these videos, I'd love to help you out and do the same for you. I would love to help you out with your real estate needs because I am a licensed broker here in the state of New Mexico. And that number popping up on the screen, guys, is my direct line. Feel free to screenshot it, write it down, do what you got to do. That way you can get on a quick call with us or me, and that way we can really plan out the next steps and talk about what it's going to take to get you down to Albuquerque. But enough of that, guys. Let's get right into the video. Why are more people moving to the Southwest Heights? And it's pretty obvious. It's super affordable still. It still makes sense to go and purchase a house on that side of town because the average sale price in that neighborhood or that area is around $250,000. And that's going to be for your single family home, you know, regular 3-bed, 2-bath kind of deal. And you're still going to have all the great amenities. With it being more residential, you are going to find that more families are moving to that side of town because, of course, it's affordable for number one. And number two, there's a number of schools out there, and we're going to get into that here in a little bit. But just really kind of elaborating on why more people are moving that way. It's affordable. It makes sense. And with the average rent, even on that side of town, if you are thinking about renting, you're looking about $1,000 a month on average. And the average income on that side of town is about $50,000. Talking about this, I'm going to be more personal with it just because I call this side of town home. My parents still live in the area and we still spend a lot of time in that, you know, those neighborhoods. And quite frankly, we're thinking about moving back. Right now, we live on the northwest side of town, but we want to move back to the southwest just because it feels like home with the diversity of culture and the availability of homes and just how much you can get in as far as value for the money that you're spending just makes too much sense. So what things can you expect, you ask? To be honest, you're going to experience some more family-oriented neighborhoods, a diverse culture. There's just going to be, you know, a plethora of different people walking all up and down the streets over there. Kiddos running up and riding their bikes, doing all that kind of deal. So it really feels like normal. Nowadays, you know, you get this whole idea of kids kind of staying inside. That side of town, for whatever reason, the kids are always outside doing their thing. And, you know, it's with over 60,000 residents just living in that one zip code. Yes, it's a lot of people, but it really gives that community vibe. And it also has all those accommodating amenities like food, clothing, and shoppings all along the main streets, like on Coors. And then you're talking about 98th and Sage in that shopping center with the Walmart, the Anytime Fitness. All that is tucked away nice and neat. And then for coffee options, just because we got to talk about that, because who doesn't love coffee, right? The human being is the only human being on that side of town. And if you are looking for something different than Starbucks, that is, you know, tucked beautifusly right there on Unser and Sage. So right on the corner, right next to a daycare, or I believe it's a school, one of the two. And then there's also Family Dollar right in that area. So little pockets here and there of amenities, it all tucked along those neighborhoods. And then if you're wondering, you know, what can I expect as far as like public transportation and all that, the bus runs through the main streets like Arenal and Unser and 98th and all that. But for majority, most people are driving to work just because it is a little bit more on the outskirts of town. It's what it's been considered as. Now with the newer developments on, you know, like the Aspire neighborhood and all that stuff by D.R. Horton, it's really creating this community base and bringing a lot more amenities to the area. So things you can expect. Now, since we are talking about family-oriented neighborhoods and stuff like that, I want to make sure that I touch on the education part on this side. So according to niche.com, the education is pretty average on that side of town. It is still growing just because, you know, a lot of newer schools and stuff like that are popping up. And for the longest time, they never had a really kind of like a college prep high school until, I was coming up back in 2012 when Driscoll Heritage Academy was pretty much completely done. It was the more prominent high school to go to on that side of town, just because they really harped on the white collar classes and stuff like that. As far as the workforce goes, they had like the health academy, the law academy, and all these different academies that you can go into to kind of prepare yourself for that workforce and really, push students into getting internships and stuff like that. And they also really connect with the community up there to, show that they are really involved in these students' lives, to really make sure that this side of town still is getting a ton of attention. And, credit to the teachers that are teaching up at that school and the schools around that area, just because they work, live, and play in the community that they're in, and they're very involved with the students, even after school, to ensure that these kids are not getting more than just a formal education, but life education, really teaching them like, hey, life skills. I know, for instance, I had a teacher that I'm still very connected with, and just seeing him still continuing to create relationships with these students to show them like, hey, you got to get educated more than just what the books are teaching you, and life is so much more than just sitting behind a desk or sitting behind books. You got to get out there and create your own experiences, and all that stuff is just super amazing. This side of town is gonna have newer schools, all that stuff. There is a ton of older schools, just because again, that area is a mix of older communities with these newer communities that are being built, especially closer to that 118th and Dennis S.R. Chavez area, or Rio Bravo, I believe is the street called up there. One street turns into another here for all the time, and it really confuses me sometimes. But even though I've lived in that area forever, and I mean forever, to be honest with you, I still remember when Unser was pretty much half dirt, and we hear that all the time. It's a very common thing to hear that, hey, I remember when the West Side was just dirt back in the early 70s and the late 60s. Now, without going too much into a tangent, of course this side of town has amenities. They do have things for you, number one, not only to do, but to go and spend your money at, right? I'm not saying that you want to go and spend all your money, but for you people who like the shopping therapy, they do have stores there where you can go and buy clothes and shoes and go down to the Hobby Lobby. And I know for one, a lot of you amateur interior decorators or the Instagram interior decorators, having the Hobby Lobby right down the street from you is just going to be a plus. But after you're done with that, believe it or not, in that Las Estancias newer strip mall area, they also have like the Starbucks, the Whataburger, the Chick-fil-A, the Chili's, the Discount Tire, and if you're looking for healthcare options, the Presbyterian Urgent Care in that area is providing a ton of value to people who live in those neighborhoods. So don't fear that, hey, if I live on this side of town, am I going to have to go and travel to the central location, kind of out of the way? You're not. It's really going to be down the street for you guys to make sure that, hey, if I do got a little sniffle, a little bit of cold, not too sure if it's the flu or whatever, or I want to just go and, get a regular checkup, you are going to be able to travel down the street to make sure that you get there within 5 to 10 minutes and not 20 to 30 because of traffic and all that stuff. But anyhow, guys, that area is booming, especially with all the new residential areas going up. It is attracting a lot more people to bring business opportunity to that side of town, and even some of the local spots are still thriving up there off of 98th. You got 98th and Sage, which has the Walmart, the neighborhood Walmart that is always going to be booming, especially because it provides a ton of value to the people living in that area. But they also have the Anytime Fitness, the Family Dollar, and the kind of city in that area. And of course, the closer you go to Central, you're going to have the 2 different strip malls on either side of the street that are going to have a ton of amenities for you guys. So no fear. All right, so if you're looking to move to one of the most up and coming areas with the residential vibe and a kind of tight knit community, and with a bunch of new development coming to that area, and probably the most affordable, to be honest with you, in all of Albuquerque, Southwest Heights is going to be for you. So if there is any more questions, or you guys just want to move there and you're just like, hey, Eli, I want to make this transition, that number popping up on the screen is my direct line. Feel free to reach out, because I am the one that answers all the calls, texts, and emails. And I'd love to get on a quick call. That way we can pull up the map, talk about all these different areas, and make that transition a lot smoother and a lot easier for you guys. But enough for me. I'm going to head back to the office. I'm going to enjoy the rest of my day, and I hope you guys do too. Have a good one. Peace.